Hello and good day to you all. My name is Dimitri Frederick and welcome to Voices for the Voiceless, a Frederick Media production and a subsidiary of Frederick Capital. Today is February 11, 2011 and today I have a great show for you and I hope you are seated and getting ready for this show because I'm going to talk about a very interesting event that took place this week, which is also a historic event that took place. So there's a lot of things going on in the news. And so, as always, I'm here to inform you about what's going on. And so that's what you watch. And so, just as always, I want to start off with the topic of today's show. It's entitled, Why MLM is Not Safe from an Economic Meltdown. Again, why MLM is not safe from an economic meltdown. So, like I said, today, this week I should say, was an interesting week of events. One of the solid companies that I had a great pleasure to be a part of, this past week has announced that they will go private. So they were a publicly traded company, and they've been in the industry for a long time, actually. In fact, 40 plus years. And so they decided to go private, and therefore no longer publicly traded, and will also be selling off their shares, and also got bought out by another third-party company. And so it is a significant thing to happen because this doesn't happen that often in the industry. But actually, in fact, last year, I was trying to find an article for you guys in time for the show, but couldn't find it. There was another company that actually announced that they were becoming a private company after having been traded in the New York Stock Exchange for a few years. And so maybe it is a trend going on. We'll be discussing that throughout the show. But it is big. One of the things you should know that this company again is 40 years old, which publicly traded, and so the decision to go private, it's not an easy decision to be made. So I bet you they had many years or many thoughtful discussions, debates about the decision they made, and they probably made it for the good reasons. But we're going to look at, maybe there's two possible meanings behind going private versus being a publicly traded company, and so. The first meaning and the first possible reason why they went private is that they want full control of the company versus dealing with shareholders. And shareholders is not the easiest person or people to deal with because you have so many parts, in the pan, as you say, or too many people making decisions. So therefore, it's always hard to direct the company to the path that you want it to go to because you have to deal with shareholders. And everybody has their opinions, and everybody's trying to tell you which direction should your company be going. So that could be one of the reasons why they decided to go private, so that they don't have to deal with that situation anymore. They could also have to deal with many lawsuits over the years over false claims, which all of them have been resolved in court. So that's one thing to know that this company, even though it's very much solid, there's always somebody that's trying to take something that's good. And trying to turn it to bad, or just make sure and try to see it doesn't succeed. There's that's why I said in previous shows that there's a lot of complainers out there, and so the good must continue to progress and move on. So the other possible solution or reasons for a company going private is that the company could be falling apart or just sick. Not sick in a bad sense, but sick. I want to say, in a sense that it's stuck on itself and just cannot seem to move forward in progressing as far as success goes. So maybe they can find a solution, and that was the only alternative solution, is to just go private so that they could repair some of the things that they need to do to help the company continue to grow to the next millennium. Well, aside from that, there is a possible third solution. And that third solution or possibility of reason for having gone private is that I watched Jim Cramer this week, and he said something that was kind of profound, and he talked about there were some rumors of a couple companies that was considering going private as well. And these are not companies that's in the network marketing industry, but this is just everyday companies that we may know that may be considering going private. And so when I saw that, and I heard that message, I'm like, maybe there is something going on. Maybe, the light bulbs, lighted up, in my head, and and I say, is there something to this that I should be paying attention to? Is there something that you need to be aware of as well? Could companies be preparing for the coming financial downfall that I have been predicting is near within the next 4 years? Let's think about this for a second. Why would publicly traded companies want to do this? If the markets do fall, and they will fall hard, a lot of them can just go bankrupt, not just in a matter of seconds, but in a matter of minutes. Because if the market is going to crash, or get to the worst position that we haven't seen in years, definitely it will have a great impact. It will be a massive sell-off, that's definitely for sure, which will drive down the value of that company. So you have to consider that as a factor. Now, if you stay private, you're also helping yourself and protecting yourself by being safe and also sheltered from the mass frenzy that's going to take place. People will panic no matter what, and they will sell. And they will sell for, just out of fear, But being private protects the company from the brink of bankruptcy within days or so. But nevertheless, it doesn't guarantee that it will also be safe too. It will just prevent the overall outcome of, everybody else panicking at the same time. It also prevents the company from being liquidated. It will have all its assets in place and also protected, because a company, whose stock falls tremendously, it depends and relies on that income coming in from investors. So if you don't have much investor left, you could be in a serious situation. It can and will survive the big fallout, but that's if they made the right decision to go private, because that could also backfire. But not necessarily backfire in the sense that, the timing, but also backfire in the sense that if they did the right thing, they made the right choices, and they understand where the economy is going, and that could mean, going to the next Great Depression. It could be a short thing by protecting the company, but it doesn't necessarily mean it will hold it from becoming bankrupt or be safe, because, not all companies are solid, and that's one thing you have to look at. Is that company grounded or been doing the right thing? Because some companies, they go public for that reason, just to generate cash, because they don't have enough sources of income to sustain themselves as well. So they go out to the open market and find investors like you and I who buy the stocks, and hoping that the company will do very well. This leads me to the point for this show, though. How financially secure are you in your MLM business? I had to think about that, and that's why I wanted to do this show, because you never know. Just because you are making some decent amount of money, let's say, $50,000 to $100,000 a year and up, doesn't mean that you are sheltered from the economic meltdown, because everybody will be affected. If anything, you are worse off, because your ego may be telling you that you got it under control. Sometimes money can be the bad thing instead of being a good thing, because when you have too much of it, you don't see the problems. You assume that, hey, this is going to avoid me, I have enough money, because today, how much cash do you need on hand to survive? And is really cash the answer? Because in most cases, in the situation that we're talking about, it may not be the total answer to everything. Remember that when I have been saying throughout my shows, especially if you watch my welcome show, it's a point that I made, is money an asset. Money is not an asset anymore, and a lot of people don't understand that concept. So let me take a second to just explain to you. When you look at gold prices, you look at currencies, and look at the world as a whole, and how the dollar keeps going back and forth, trying to survive and trying to stay above water, you could say. It doesn't necessarily mean it's an asset. So you could have all the money in the banks right now, but if it's depreciating in value, definitely it's not an asset anymore. It's like a liability today. Think about the housing market. A lot of people bought into that false philosophy that for many years believed that a house is an asset. Folks, your house is not an asset. And most people don't understand that concept as well. An asset is something that's going to create income for you. You know, a lot of people assume and believe that a house is an asset because they've been taught that for generations. But also, the housing market has never had the seriousness of impact that it's had to go backwards. So because it's always going up for, you know, years, people believe that a house was always an asset. And that's where we got a little crazy. You know, everybody was over-evaluating their house, you know, their property or what it's worth, and therefore everybody, you know, overinflated the housing market and therefore causing it to crash. So a house is not an asset. The only time and the only way that you make it become an asset is that the income is not coming from you to pay for that house. So you have leverage. Let's say you have a 3-family house. That's an asset because you are not the 100% person solely responsible for that income. You have other people that's renting out the place that actually is paying for that mortgage, therefore leveraging you and the time freedom to actually do something else, which is be wise with your finances, make some wise business investment decisions. You know, and I have to say that, you know, as I look at, you know, property today and, you know, look at landlords, I understand that not every landlord understand the philosophies about owning property, because a lot of landlords are just landlords. They're not business-minded people. They're not business owners. They just own property, but they don't understand that this is a business and they have to treat it like a business. So a lot of people have that false backwards philosophy about knowing what an asset is and versus what's not an asset. So that's a quick take on that. There'll probably be more shows in the future talking about that and other issues regarding finances and money. The other thing is it has no valuation or appreciation. You know, when you look at a business, you know, is it growing? You know, does it have any value to it? Maybe sometimes it does, maybe sometimes it doesn't. You need to be able to hold on to something that's tangible. So again, money is something that's physical, but it's a paper. You know, the value could go up and down. But a solid business, you know, and I'm talking about more or less a brick and mortar business. You know, there are marketing companies, you could consider that a solid company based on the potential income that you're making. You know, and that's the key word, potential, because if you're not making the income and you're not to that level yet, then it's not a solid business yet for you, because you're still dependent maybe on another income source or maybe a job for it to be viable for you to be a true business opportunity where you can walk away from your job. Something that is going to grow or sustain a bad economy, and we are in a bad economy. So you need to understand that, you know, if you have a business, you know, that business needs to survive as well as your ability to be successful. So, you know, the company may be solid, but your fundamentals of business philosophies may not be. Maybe you're just a new person in the industry. You may have the right business, but you may not have the philosophies, the mindsets ready to be successful yet. You know, there's a learning curve in anything that you do. So you need to understand that. Do you have a true business model? You know, is what I'm asking. You know, is that business solid? You know, you have to consider that. And do you have more than one multi-level marketing business that you are building? Now, that's a, you know, maybe someone's surprised and shocked for me saying that. So let me repeat it again. Do you have more than one network marketing business that you are building? You know, and it's a hard thing for people to grasp that philosophy right now, because the magic number is at least 3 or more businesses that you're building. Now, you don't have to build them all at once. You know, that's not what I'm saying. But you need to understand that you are building one company that you find yourself good at, and you find that the product and the income is great, and you're building it till it could sustain itself, till you could create the leaders that you need to create. Then you move on, or not necessarily move on, I don't mean you walk away from it, because you always want to be generating income. So because this goal and this topic is about generating multiple streams of income. So you go into the next business model that makes sense, you know, that's going to create a wealth of businesses. And one thing I say, that complements each other, not just any business that you're going to take from one business to another, because you're going to be dragging people back and forth, because that's the next thing. That's not the goal and the intention of this conversation. The goal is to actually be building solid companies, build businesses that will allow you to create and generate income stream, as well as residual income for yourself and your family. So you keep doing that over and over until you have that income source, or that true leverage, because the goal is not to be dependent on just that one income source for yourself or your family, but to have multiple streams of income come into you day in, day out. So now, this is the principle that I have been taught, and I understand that, namely, you cannot chase more than two rabbits at a time. And it's been said many times over, and I've learned the principles and the philosophies why it's said, and I understand that. But you can only focus on one thing at a time, which is true. But don't you know the word leverage is what we're talking about? Putting all your eggs into one basket doesn't defeat the point for getting into multi-level marketing of your choice. And when I think about that, I compare that to a job, because our job, most of us have one income stream, and maybe that's that job. And so when you walk away and get into that field of network marketing, you may have replaced your income from that job, but what have you done? You've just done the same thing that your job did to you. Just because now you have a business, you think that you've made it and you've achieved success because the income starts coming in. Remember, I told you earlier that money could be a false evidence of success. And so that income coming into you, it's bigger and it's more than you ever seen before, or allowing you to change your zip code, change your lifestyle, but doesn't mean that you have leverage. And that's the thing, because more money doesn't mean you have leverage. It means sometimes you just have more problems ahead of you, because you're not thinking big, or you're not thinking outside the box for success. This brings me to my point. We are creatures of habit, and that's understandable. We are doing the same things that downsize us in corporate America, by putting all of our eggs in one basket again. Our sole focus is only building that one business just to get on top. That's what most of us do in network marketing. We just build it, and then we keep having success. But is it true success? Because when you look at the economy, because you need to understand, preparing for a bad economy will determine what kind of business do you have. Is it one of those businesses that could survive a downturn in the economy, a financial meltdown, or a disaster, or anything? You have to always be considerate of those things. And also, we're going to talk about legacy towards the end as well. How will that business impact your family's future? Is it going to be around for your children's future? You have to consider that, and also the residual income that you get from that. Now, one thing you need to also think about, as a company that's the only sole company that you may be dedicated to, which is great, what if that business falls apart? That's the key question. Close up shop. Your business could just say, we ran out of money, we're sorry, but we have to close. We cannot continue doing business because financially things are getting tight, gas prices are going up, and therefore we cannot continue doing business and we have to shut down. Are you financially ready for that, to accept that fact if your business today was to shut down and you couldn't do your network marketing business today? The company that I was referring to is over 40 years old. Some of us could have success, and that success could be a long time, but all of a sudden things change. How business was done 40 years ago today is a lot different. What if the company What if the company that brought them out decided to sell it? For example, this company, like I said, it's been around for a number of years, and all of a sudden things change. Different management, different issues, different conflicts. Maybe everybody wants to go their way separate. Well, things change, and therefore the company may be sold out to somebody else. some can argue that, well, that they promise not to do that, not to sell to another person, not to sell to a third-party company. Therefore, I must trust them. We have a great trust, and that's great. Our belief system is based on trust. You may trust the management doing the right thing, but also the management may not always do the right thing. You have to understand today we live in an era of greed, and sometimes people look at money, look at finances differently than you do. A lot of people have had tremendous wealth today. They don't even understand what it's about, and therefore money is the only thing that they see. They don't see people. Do you know that all those things I'm saying, all these arguments that you may be given that, hey, these are things that's happening, but we understand we're in a great solid company. But do you understand that Enron, Arthur Andersen, MCI, WorldCom, the list could go on and on. They all were great companies at one time, and people believed and bought into the philosophies that these companies were solid, that they will always be around for many years. And actually, some of them have been around for a long time, but things happen, things change, and you have to be ready to change with it. I did a show on Facebook on this topic. It's not directly on the same topic, but it's on the topic of privacy. And I'm recalling back the reason why I did that show, because a lady I was watching, she had gotten fired from her job because she actually posted something on Facebook to her families and friends. But what happened is that her family and friends were not the only people that were sharing the information. See, your privacy, just because you set your privacy setting does not mean that who you share the information with, your friends, your family, whoever, have the same philosophy as you. Likewise, that company can easily sell their interest in that company to a third-party company, which means that they are no longer obligated to your agreement or promise. That contract is non-involved now, because a third-party company doesn't have to live up to your expectation or whoever originally made that contract, agreement, or deal or promise to you. Or better yet, say we no longer need you in the field as independent associates, independent agents. Since we are a privately held company now, we are going to go private. We're also going to go to commercials as a traditional company does on TV. That company could easily say those things to you, that they don't want to do network marketing, they want to take the company to a different direction, and therefore what do? Now you're stuck. Thanks for your dedication. That's probably what they'll say to you at the end. And then what if that was your company? What would you do? What then? What is the next phase? What is the next action? Did you ever even plan or thought about those possibilities? And those things can happen. Many of network marketers out there are not really entrepreneurs. And I guess that's the point I'm trying to make for you to understand. There is a big difference between an entrepreneur and a business owner. Now, my welcome show, I actually talked briefly about that and mentioned it. And so I want to take this time to explain the difference between an entrepreneur and a business owner. A lot of us have business desires within us to be successful. And so whether or not your level of education and your level of success is based on your philosophies and your training about business and success. Some people are street smart, some people are book smart, some people went to Ivy League school, got all the degrees and the MBAs and the PhDs behind them, but do they necessarily have the skills to be an entrepreneur? A business owner tends to have that knowledge about their business. They spend a lot of time researching, planning, and focusing solely on their business. And sometimes that could entrap them because they're not necessarily always looking at where is the next growth curve. A lot of companies who are struggling and starting out right, they don't spend a lot of time doing market development and research development. And so they just focus on just surviving, because they wanted to be self-employed, a business owner, therefore that's what they're doing. Now, when you look at entrepreneurs, I'm proud to define myself as an entrepreneur because An entrepreneur is always growing, and that's the key word right there. They're always growing, they're always building. Now, what they're building doesn't matter, but they're knowing that they're building businesses all the time. And so someone like me, and who does a lot of things, and I'm always stretching myself to grow. People may not understand what I'm doing, and that's fine, because I'm looking at the future. And that's what entrepreneurs do. They look at the future, they see things that's changing, and they change with the sale. It's something I like to say all the time. I change my sale along the way, according to the wind, so I could get to where I want to get to. That's a business philosophy that Jim Rohn taught me a long time ago. Change with the sale. So while most business owners are solely focusing and their heads down on one thing, an entrepreneur is always looking at the economy, looking at the world as it is, and where's the next business curve? Where's the next growth curve? Where's the next opportunity for them to create income and growth? Because an entrepreneur is not solely relying on one income stream, but multiple income streams for success. So when you look at the difference, you have to decide which one do you want to be, because it's not easy. Both of them are hard, but one requires more sacrifice, more patience, to be planning and looking ahead. And sometimes we could be wrong, but most of the times the rewards are greater than the failures that come along. And that's also not a factor. Entrepreneurs probably make more mistakes, fail more often than most people who have a business, because that business is their sole, focus, sole goal is to build it. Now, whether or not you're building it for legacy is a different topic also, because remember, entrepreneurs are having multiple streams of income being generated that it will live a legacy for generations to come. Now, if you're just building a business, how many generations will that business last? Is it one generation, your family members, your children, or maybe two at most? And also know that entrepreneurs are creating wealth. There's a big difference between wealth creation and riches. One thing I said, wealth is something that you work at. It's something that you build long term. Riches is only temporary. A lot of people today, I look at celebrities, people who's doing reality TV shows. Are they really wealthy? You may be inspired by their success and the riches income they have, but they're not wealthy. Understand that the wealthiest people in the world build businesses. They build multiple businesses to last a lifetime. One person I'm truly proud of and that comes to mind is Sir Brinston. The gentleman has, I've heard, over 200 businesses, and I aspire to be like him one day, to have that multiple success of businesses being built and also supporting thousands upon thousands of people. That's a privilege. So look at yourself. Are you just building something for yourself, and does it end with you as a business owner, or are you building something that's long-term, generational, that's going to create income, wealth, and make an impact in the world, make an impact in your family's life? Those are the two differences between when you look at business owners and when you look at entrepreneurs. Now to get back on the topic at hand, most entrepreneurs are just, most people who join network marketing, I should say, they're just business owners, and that's why I share that with you, because they are new to the industry. They don't want to understand anything, and they just join whatever company that came to them, because everybody's looking for income. So you need to understand that. Do you have the mindset when someone approaches you for success, for wealth generation, for maybe riches, or where just by luck you happen to be crossing paths with somebody who is a business owner or entrepreneur or someone who is in network marketing? Or are you just trying out network marketing? A lot of people, they're just trying out network marketing. They've never been in the industry, so therefore they don't know what it's about. Some of them are curious, some of them are just straight out negative about network marketing, but they may just want to try it out to get an understanding. And I give them compliments to that, because most people are just straight up negative and will never take the time to learn what they don't understand. And that's what separates those who have versus those who don't have anything. And there's others who are seeing if this is going to work for them. most folks in network marketing are trying it out. Like I said, they are not that serious. I ask a lot of time, have you found your why? Yet alone, have you found a strong why, a strong reason for you to change your life, for you to be successful? Most people, again, they just go into life and hoping things will change, without having a proper plan in place for them to change their life around. I have to ask this question all the time when I see someone that is just trying out network marketing. I always want to ask them, do you really try out life? Do you try out life? Of course you don't try out. You go through what you have to go through for success, no matter how long it takes, no matter the hurdles you have to go to. Whether it's relationships, jobs, what have you. You just go through the process. So success is the same way for network marketing, for any other business. So just because the cost may be different and some of the things in the industry is different, doesn't mean that you just come into the industry just to try it out and then say, oh yeah, I tried this company. Well, you don't try out life, folks. You just do it. The next thing is, when are you going to get serious? If you're just trying things out. So when are you going to get serious about your life? What about this business? What about this industry? Are you reading the books? What kind of books? Well, a lot of people read a lot of things, but are they the proper things for them? What I'm talking about, are you reading personal development? Are you serious about personal development? And our industry is one of the industries of things that we do is talk about, personal development, reading books that's going to help you grow intellectually, spiritually, emotionally as well. I am so thankful for personal development in my life today, because who knows where I would be, because I know my growth potential would have been set back for generations possibly, because I'm not living for my life, for myself. I'm living for my children's future. So when you look at personal development, how are you growing to set yourself apart from those who want to be successful or those who just want to be content in life? You change your mindset, through personal development. It's not about the money, folks. A lot of people get that confused. Like I said, money is not an asset, and people get that so confused. They're just in there to make money, and then they leave, go find the next network marketing company. I'm in the business for growth, for knowledge sake, for understanding philosophies, and personal development gives you that capability to do those things. Can this be said about your life? A lot of people join the industry as the same person, and then they get in there and they're expecting something different. No, it's not the company that's going to change it. It's you who's going to change within yourself, internally, personally, over time. One thing for me, the many years I spent in training and being in the industry, is that my family and my friends never saw what was happening inside of me. They saw the outward Dimitri, but they never saw the internal Dimitri. The intellectual Dimitri that was changing. The spiritual Dimitri that's getting stronger and stronger each year. So, people will see what they want to see on the outside, but you have to go intellectually, internally, so that when you're ready to grow and be that person that success was meant to be for you, you will have the power. I talked about this before. I believe it's Jeff Olson that has the philosophy, do the thing and you'll have the power. He says it a lot of time, so I kind of assigned it to him. Do the thing and you'll have the power. So this brings me to the next point. I have come to the conclusion that people are not using true leverage to go after their dreams. Meaning that people are still not building for the B and I quadrant from Kiyosaki's philosophy. Kiyosaki is a great author. He's a great businessman, and I've learned a lot from his teachings and his philosophy. And what I'm talking about is reading Cash Flow Quadrant. That book alone has so many key principles about success that you need to understand to build a true entrepreneur business, a true network marketing business. And if you've read it, read it again. It's a must. If you're in this industry, you need to understand why Cash Flow Quadrant is a must read. You know, you need to understand the principles of his teachings. You know, and in that book, the principles that he talks about, and he talks about it in various books that he's written in the past as well. And he talks about, which is one of the focus about this topic for the show, is the ESBNI. You know, it's something that I live by, and you know, I'm trying to understand and grow with the philosophy that he teaches within that book. The ENS is employees and the self-employed. The BNI is business owners and investors. Now, the BNI is not the same type of business owner that I'm talking about. These are multi-millionaires, multi-billionaires who have big businesses, big corporations, like the Warren Buffetts of the world, the Bill Gates of the world, the Michael Dells of the world, the Steve Jobs of the world, you know, the Googles of the world, or you could even say the Facebook of the world, even though it doesn't probably fit in that category yet, because Facebook has yet to be seen what its potential future is. So when we're talking about BNI, we're talking about the big bucks, you know. So to go into a little detail about this key concept, because you know it's a formula for success that most people don't quite understand. You know, a lot of people, when they start out in life, most of the time start out what? As just an employee. You're working for somebody else, and so your frustration, your anger, you know, you just discuss it at some point, and you say, you know what, enough is enough. I need to start my own business. So what a lot of us do, we just jump into the S quadrant for self-employed, you know, which is like a doctor, a lawyer, you know, and just a regular business owner. So sometimes when I look at business owners, you know, they may mean well, but they fall into the same trap as as an employee mindset person is, because they don't necessarily do the things. They may do the research for the business, but they also don't realize that sometimes they could become trapped by that same business. They want to walk away from the job, because a job is a business at some form, but they didn't understand all the things and kinks and ins and outs of that business. So whether or not it's in the same field or industry or something totally different, they start their own business. And now they find out the hurdles, the headaches, and the lack of sleep they had to go to build that business, because it's very demanding. It's not an easy thing to start your own business. But at the same time, they're not doing the growth, the intellectual process that they need to for success. So they get stuck, you know, or they may be successful, but their success is limited to a certain amount of income, because that's as far they could grow as an individual person. Because a lot of time you find that a lot of people who have their own self-employment business don't have the time and the energy to actually read, to go to a seminar, to learn about the association, to understand that, hey, this is what I need to know, this is what I need to do to help my business continue to grow. Because sometimes the business is just them, sometimes the business is just a small staff of people, and they have to always be busy. Sometimes they don't even have a chance to take vacation time, because they're solely focusing on building that one business. And then you got the BNI business, where, like I said, you know, multi-millionaire people who are building big corporations. And so that's where you want to be in the end, you know, trying to build a big corporation, creating a lot of income stream for yourself. Therefore, you have leverage, time freedom to attend your family's events, to have the true time freedom that you said you wanted to seek out in the beginning, by building multiple streams of income, creating several companies within your business organization, so that you could do the things that you need to do, give to the charities that you want to give to, donate your time and energy to places of interest to you. The next thing is the investor. The investor, you know, takes it to the next level. Now the investor has taken to the point where they're investing they're not the time, but most importantly their money, because they're using their money to work harder for them than they had ever worked for money at all. Because now they're using money to leverage their time and energy. Because now they have investors that's looking to borrow money. You have, you know, other businesses that need investors. So they're all using, you know, your leverage that you generate for yourself, so that you could create more income for yourself. So that's just the ESBNI quadrant in a nutshell. You definitely got to read the book to get more details about that, because there is tremendously a lot of philosophies. I could spend a whole show just talking about the cash flow quadrant book, and the things that come along with that for businesses. But let's move on. Understand that it is our human nature to leave within our comfort zone, and that's why I had to say what I had to say at the beginning, So we really do not try to do anything outside of that comfort zone. We like to say it's like a shell, and sometimes even your job, sometimes even yourself, we do it to ourselves and prevent ourselves from growing. Take a look at your business. Take a look at it right now. Do a gut check. Ask yourself, are you really making the kind of money that you know that you can make in this company, in your business? If the answer is yes, stretch yourself even further and see what your potential can be. You never know what your potential is until you try. Next, if the answer is no, reevaluate your company. Reevaluate yourself and your why. Is it big enough? You have to ask yourself that question. Is your why big enough for the things you want to accomplish in life? Maybe they're not. Maybe you need to find a new why that's going to be even stronger to help you get to where you need to get to. You need to find another company out there that works. Sometimes a lot of us, find ourselves stuck in the same company doing the mundane and never realize that maybe it's time to move on. For me, I remember Jim Rohn, when I first got into the industry, he had a audio cassette CD, cassette tape actually at the time, that I listened to, and he said any given 6 years, folks, you could change your life around. And I truly believe in that philosophy. Any given 6 years, you saying I could change my life around, I bought into that philosophy, understood that with the right effort, with the right company, with the right training, with the right personal development, growth, I can change my life around. So stop doing what makes you feel comfortable. A lot of people just join businesses, just do the things that they need to do to survive, but most importantly, that makes them comfortable. No one's willing to stretch themselves to get into something that's different. Maybe it's not your strong suit, but find something that works, that's trending. That's one thing I've learned this coming year as a key for success. Don't always try to do what's been done before. True wealth is created by those who are the pioneers, not those who came after and said, oh yeah, I saw it, it's been done before, so therefore it's safe. No, wealth is truly created by those who taking the chance and the risk to be successful. So stop trying to be comfortable, because a lot of us, being comfortable doesn't help your future family. It just helps you maintain where you're at right now. It doesn't change anything. Learn something new. That's something I've always done for myself. I make an effort to learn something new every year. Try something, like I said, in network marketing that's going to be really growing. A company, like I said earlier on the phone, there's 4 or 5 types of companies out there that really are stretching. Actually I haven't talked about that. I'm going to talk about that in a second. And so you need to understand growth, instead of being just in companies that, oh yeah, I heard about this company, oh yeah, that company is rock solid, but it doesn't mean that they're growing, or maybe they've reached their peak, their tipping point. So you need to understand those philosophies in looking at network marketing as well, to help you be successful. Here's another thing that I've come to realize about this industry. No one is really doing outside training away from what the network marketing company provides. Only less than 1%, I bet, is actually doing this. What do I mean? Everyone should be listening to other top leaders do training about the industry. It's very important. It's very important for the point that it will help you in your personal growth. Here's a great example, which is what I was alluding to a second ago. I happened to listen to Randy Cage, and the last time I knew of Randy Cage, I believe he was in Agile right now. He could have moved on or so on. But one thing about Randy Cage is that he's a multi-millionaire in the industry. A friend of mine actually, in a previous network marketing company, sent me a CD of his that he did a training, And when I listened to the CD, it blew my mind, Somebody was trying to recruit me, but they didn't have no success. But what I got out of that recruiting process was a CD that he gave me, and understand that that's one of the great tools that you could use to actually prospect people, giving them another personal development CD or another leader CD in the industry that you may be wanting them to look at. But regardless, if they join or not, they will be blessed with the knowledge that you have just shared with them something that's powerful, and that's personal development. So I had listened to that CD, and there was just so much information about the industry and about how they look at different companies. The first thing before I get started is to let you know that the title of that CD, the CD is called "Are You an MLM Grinder or a Rockstar?" And you can find that from Agile, or there's other companies out there that provides those kind of audio trainings, audio CDs in the marketplace. So like I said, I was blown away with the information that was on that CD, and it actually changed my life. It even changed how I look at my past businesses and where I am in the industry. I really believe that every networker should be listening to this CD, this one CD, because it is just that powerful. Here are the 5 categories to look for when you're evaluating a business, and that's what I want to share with you as we close the show. The one thing that Randy Cage said, when you look at companies, to get involved in, you need to understand these 5 different types of categories of companies. And the first one is the bottle rockets, which means that these are companies that they power the scams, they power the payment schemes. Those are the companies that just have massive success right at the gateway. Like you watching someone explode his smoke, like, hey, look at Joe. Joe's having massive success. All of a sudden, Joe is never heard of from. Joe is actually in jail because Joe was part of a scam, that may look good on the outside, may smell good, maybe making all that money real fast, but was never legitimate. It was just, a scam. And a lot of us participate in scams or been exposed to a lot of scams today. And so you understand that the bottle rockets, those are the companies that's here today, gone tomorrow. They don't last that long. Next, you want to look at the old guard, which is, the industry leaders that are already in the billions of dollars in profit, and wealth. They've been around the block, you could say, a few times around, actually. They were the pioneers. They were the companies that stuck it out, made it happen, went to the hurdles of the regulations, the deregulations, the lawsuits and what have you. But they are the old school companies that are the industry leaders. So they are more stable, and some people, like I said, don't get into your comfort zone, what you feel is safe, So a lot of people will just join those companies because it's safe. They made the money. They have a proven track record, which is all great and dandy, but it doesn't necessarily mean that company is aligned in the position to create the most amount of wealth that you need to create for yourself. Because remember, we are here as entrepreneurs living for our children's future, not for our own future. If that's you and if that's your situation, maybe you want to look at that company, because remember that the income that you're making may have passed. The income that you want to make in the future, may not be, possible. You got to determine what kind of income, what kind of wealth are you looking to make in any one company. Does that company have the viable means to help you reach that goal? The next thing is to look at the Flatliners. Those are companies that never took off. They may be solid, have decent management teams, but they have great potential, but they never took off. Their growth is just flat. They try their best to grow, but the company, for some reason, doesn't have what it takes to grow, and so they get stuck in that flat line, state of business. And you could try all types of promotions, events, trying to spin off the company different ways, but they don't naturally grow to where they need to go. So those are the Flatliners. Next, you need to look at the peddlers. The peddlers is those are companies that solely focus on selling and marketing up their products. So they buy wholesale, sell at retail. And that's usually those are the companies that's in the direct sell industry, where you you have to understand that you're not creating leverage, true leverage. You're creating just income for yourself. Maybe it's your own business, but understand that you're not truly creating that residual income that's going to last forever, So you just basically not really duplicating yourself, but, you're becoming a slave to your job again, because the income is always dependent on you, that one person. True leverage is dependent on multiple people that will create the income and the wealth for you. And last but not least, there's that holy grail of a company, which leads to the point, are you an MLM grinder or a rock star? And that's the rock star of it all. Finding that one company that has the true potential of becoming massively successful for you, for your family. Those are the companies that, can become that billion-dollar company, which allows you, with a bunch of billions, you can make a few millions within that, industry and within that one company. So it has potential to be that winner that you've been looking for. It knows the formula for creating wealth and success. And so that's what a holy grail of a company you're looking for. Now, there's a lot of things that was in that training, in that CD, and I recommend you find that CD and you get it for yourself. Or if you have to go through people in Azure, do so. It was a wealth of information, and totally changed my philosophy on looking at businesses. And so a lot of people may not even know that information. So I'm glad to have shared it with you. Now, this brings me to the conclusion of the show. And so just want to kind of give a little summary as I look at the winter. This was a very tough winter for us, and it's still not over. We still got a few more weeks to go in winter, but it definitely has been a tough winter on a lot of us this year. So when I look at all the houses and businesses whose roofs have collapsed due to the amount of weight and pressure put on them because of all the snowstorms that we have had this winter of 2011, it helps me reflect on my neighbor's new roof that he just got this past summer. And I'll tell you, and I'll explain to you why I thought about that, because it relates to this topic, of course. You see, it really does not matter how good the roof is if the foundation is not solid. That's one thing I realized when I thought about his roof. Is your business grounded in a real multi-level marketing business that has the potential for becoming successful? Is your business growing, or better yet, are you growing as a person? Or is it just falling apart because of such things as bad weather? Is our economic financial storms going to knock off the very thing that protects you and your family at night? Are you checking to see if your multi-level marketing business or your business's financial roof are on the brink of collapsing as well? Are you creating the multiple streams of income that is necessary for you to survive the worst ever Great Depression that is looming ahead due to our global economic situation facing the world? You have to really ask yourself that question. Because when I look at network marketing today, I feel as though the industry is starting to be more like telemarketers at our regular jobs, or someone answering service system or automated system. Your phone rings and it's some overexcited fool trying to tell you about their business through a recording. If you want to hear more information, dial this number. I get these calls all the time. Or you get tons of email blasts in your inbox about business opportunities. This leads to my next point. Where I come from, people speak to someone on the phone or face to face, or give them a ring on the telephone, or I speak to somebody live, if they're trying to prospect me or have me take a look at their business. Doesn't that sound more like our jobs when you think about it? Doing that 9-to-5 grind. I understand that technology is surely changing the industry, but understand one thing: people want to join this industry so that they can feel wanted, feel loved, and cared about by the people who will be becoming their mentors. Not some city slicker who is fast on the phone and ready to move on to the next suspect that might be interested in becoming a prospect. So don't treat your multi-level marketing business like it is the same thing that you claim that you hate at your job. Treat it like a business, and it will pay you like a real business should pay you. Folks, thank you for your time. It was a pleasure. That's our show for today. As always, I hope you were enlightened, educated, and empowered by the information I shared with you today. You are watching Voices for the Voiceless. God bless and have a good day.